3, 4, and I think we're live. Who knows? You were right though. Yesterday, I think we've figured it out here on another one. It's about 5 seconds for those other YouTubers that if you're going the go live thing, 5 seconds, 6 seconds until you're actually recording. So if you're going to say the most important thing up front, don't wait about 5 seconds. All right, welcome back. It's Rob, Brendan. Go subscribe to Ample Thought. Make sure I'm very excited. I hit 1,000 subscribers last night, right after the live stream.
Yeah.
I'm actually proud to say it was my daughter. We were at 9.99 during the live stream. After she was like, "Hey, how was the live stream? What'd you guys talk about? Can I watch it?" And I was like, "No, it's adult stuff." She said, "What age?" And I said, "Teens." And then she said, I said, "Oh, guess what? I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers." And she goes, "What are you at?" I was like, 9.99. And she goes, "Have I subscribed? Let me go and do it." And she subscribed, and I cracked it. So
That's awesome, man.
it only took 10 years.
We we can't give her Flinty though. I mean maybe that's a gift for another time.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. She's a kid who would appreciate that gift.
Hmm.
You know
Good.
what she asked for Christmas? A bullhorn so she could go to a strike or a protest.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
she continually, because she knows um that I've been involved in organizing, that well, we won our union at Starbucks, but they're fighting us tooth and nail. There's a court case going on, all this stuff that we'll address at a later date.
Yeah.
So I've kind of with her and her friends, I talk about the power dynamics and the socioeconomic good of people coming together to fight for better conditions. And I try to do it in like a kid friendly way. Like one of the things I'll say is I like to ask her and her friends is if there's a toy store in town, right? Which those
Hmm.
don't even exist anymore. But let's say Toys R Us existed in America, it's in Canada, and you and your friends didn't have money. Is there even a point to the toy store? And
Yeah.
originally her answer was, yeah, I don't care if I have money because my parents will buy it for me. And I said, no, 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 this is like you having to have the money, and you're
Right.
having to earn it, save it up like you do, and parents can't help you. I said, so if you don't have the money, what's the point of a store? And it gets them to kind of think about it. And then I go, well, that's why, people are trying to fight for more money so they have buying power and purchasing power. So, long story short, through all of this daily kind of conversation and why Jeff Bezos is a horrible human, um, she's come to kind of appreciate the working class a little more than I think typical kids do. And
Sure.
then she wanted to start. She was like, "Are you going to go on strike? When are you
Mm.
guys going to strike?" And I said, "Well, listen, you never want to go on strike. Strike is like a last resort type thing." And she said, "Okay, well, can I put a bullhorn or a megaphone on my Christmas list?" And I said, "For what?" And she goes, "Well, if you ever do go on strike, I would like to be able to use a megaphone. Is that what it's called?
Hmm.
Bullhorn?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megaphone. Yeah.
And I said, "Absolutely, kid. Whenever we can go." And speaking of that, I wanted to address, and I think you're pretty well informed on this stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions out there about striking. And today is the 100th day of, is it SAG-AFTRA?
Yes.
Right? SAG-AFTRA being on strike. Um,
In some capacity, remember, because there were two areas of negotiation. One of those deals has been struck already, and there is still more to be done as far as I mean, this will be a continuing process of talking about the use of AI, the use of AI imagery, in perpetuity. James Earl Jones gave his voice of Darth Vader to Disney. That's another thing that actors and writers are working with producers and trying to negotiate what will be in the future for um, the responsibility of the networks, of the production companies, to provide um, correcting wages for these things, and for rules going forward and laws going forward, things to protect them. So yeah, there are two parts to it. I mean, IATSE is another part of it. So the stage workers and craft behind it. But yes,
But
SAG-AFTRA.
the intellectual property thing of, like you said, people's voices, their likeness, because essentially when you're an actor, you're your own brand. Um, and some of the stuff I was reading and watching the SAG-AFTRA people react to was that they were talking, and again, I don't know the exact specifics, but it was something like if you were an extra, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of people will be extras to kind of break in or, you know, do it as part-time work or make some money here. I mean, a lot of my friends around here were doing it, and I don't want to say they were trying to become actors, but they were hoping something could come of
Sure.
it or make some
Yeah.
connections. And they were talking about scanning these extras and
Mhm.
owning that likeness forever, just to be
Yeah.
able to use in the background of whatever movie deemed it possible. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with any of the Scientology stuff,
In what capacity?
just in like generic hearing of, so the reason I bring that up is because that specific point of like these companies wanting to use AI to own people's likeness reminded me of when you get into Scientology, you sign a billion-year contract, I
Right.
think it is. Yeah, okay, so you know about that.
Yeah.
So it reminded me very much of like, oh, this is some crazy shit where they're like, we get to own your voice and face for a billion years,
Right.
which is nuts. Just think about that. You know, even as a regular person, if you
Yeah, I
ever
mean, and you can, there's a litany of interviews you can find anywhere on YouTube about people who have been through all of that. The most famous one, I think, being Dave Chappelle. We've talked about that before. His contracts through either Comedy Central, using his likeness in perpetuity in all dimensions of time and space, forever and ever, you know, period. Um, I think Pete Holmes fought against that to a certain extent. Um, uh, Bill Murray was one of the first people to say, "No, I'm taking that language out." Um,
really, has
yeah,
Bill Murray talked about that?
no, I've. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just saying that he was very good at negotiating contracts, as well as his brother, negotiating contracts in that manner. So, without getting too much off topic, what did you want to talk specifically about SAG-AFTRA? I mean,
Yeah. Well, and first I kind of wanted to just
dispelling some of the myths.
yeah. So I think the biggest myth is that SAG-AFTRA is the name brand faces we all know and love. You know,
Right.
like the Clooney's, the
Oh,
Cruises.
right, right, right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, et cetera, et cetera. And really, that's like the small few top 1% of that conglomerate of I don't do you know how many people are in it? It's like 160,000 or there's like a lot of
In
members.
all of SAG-AFTRA, I don't know.
I think
Um,
it's hold on one second. I
but
know I
I
had some
think
of these articles up.
I think more to your point, though, 98% of actors and actresses who are a part of this negotiating that's going on are making less than $10,000 a year in Hollywood or New York, but we're talking about LA. So, I mean, for the most part, we're talking about LA. There are strikes in New York as well.
So
But 98% of them are making less than $10,000 a year through their contracts, one way or the other. So 2% maximum are the Tom Cruises and the Ben Afflecks and everybody else. And everybody has their own ebbs and flows. Like, um, I know it sounds silly. We were talking a little bit about it yesterday, but you're not seeing a whole lot of movies with Dane Cook in them. You're not seeing a whole lot of movies with Jessica Alba in them, or you know,
or Jessica Simpson.
Or Jessica Simpson, exactly. So everybody has ups and downs with what they are putting into movies and what they are getting out of movies. Everybody's contracts are different. I think another myth is that everybody has a weird ask and everybody gets paid millions of dollars ahead of time. Those are the John Travoltas and The Rock and Denzel Washington and Ethan. Well, maybe not Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
Ethan
saying.
Hawke's one of them. I
There's
love
well,
Ethan
there's
Hawke.
nuance to it because I mean, even Keanu Reeves, in I want to say 13 of his movies, donated his salary to make sure somebody else could get on the movie. Devil's Advocate, they said we don't have enough money for you, and he said whatever I'm getting paid, make sure you get Al Pacino. So they got Al Pacino, and I hope they paid Charlize Theron a good amount of money. She hadn't even done Mighty Joe Young yet, I don't think. But anyway, um, I mean, there are people who get to a point to be able to do that. Remember, Keanu started really young. But most people, almost all people, 2 out of every 100 people can do that. 98 cannot do that, and they are struggling to not just get on screen, get their if they're part of the creative process in pre-production, producing or post-production and doing dubbing stuff afterwards, whatever. There's so much that goes into it, but who is benefiting the most? The executives, and I think more to your point, these people don't want to go on strike because people like Eisner or Eichner, any of the people, head of Paramount, head of Warner Brothers, MGM, Universal, all of them can say, we can dry these guys out. Like, we're
Yep.
not losing our salaries. Nobody in our bubble, in our administrative offices, need to lose their jobs because we're not making a movie right now. Hell, we're still riding 43 Marvel movies or, whatever, whether it's Fox or any of those places. So, some of the statements you've seen that come out saying these are unreasonable requests when they're being paid $1 million a year to be an executive base or $100 million a year, it really doesn't matter to them because they're getting paid no matter what.
Yeah, they're not based on performance. And so the executives, the big ones that you've heard, even the leak stuff, are David Zaslav, Ted
Yes,
Sarandos, Donna Langley, and Bob Iger. And
Bob
was it
Iger.
Iger who said we're going to try to starve them out? That was like a leaked memo
That's my
talking about,
understanding.
yeah, talking about these people that are making. Oh, so if you haven't got a chance to read deadline.com, Fran Drescher, who's an
Yeah,
absolute
love
treasure,
her. She's great.
she did a guest column talking about the 100-day anniversary of the strike. And so she says that with 86% of their 160,000 members. So remember, the elite in Hollywood are like nameable. There are always like top 100 lists, and maybe can go for a few more hundred. But there's 160,000 members.
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah.
Those members, 86% are unable to meet the $26,474 threshold to qualify for health benefits,
Mm,
which is
yeah,
insane. And then you have these Bob Igers, the new head of Disney, or the new old, like he left and then came back to take it over from the other Bob who was driving it into the ground.
right.
I think he's making 22 million a year, and then you got to figure the compensation package, right? Because that's
Yeah,
always tied to stocks, not performance.
I was just going to say. Yeah,
And they also, I forget what the buybacks were. Their stock buybacks are in the billions. And
yeah,
those used to be illegal. Up until 1982, they were illegal. In the Starbucks unionization fight, or the fight for better wages and all that for people like me and my coworkers, Starbucks promised last year to spend 20 billion in stock buybacks over the next 3 years.
mm,
20 billion, instead of investing in the company, fixing the stuff in the store, paying people so we can eat food. they're buying their own stock to artificially inflate the market and make themselves richer because, of course, their compensation is tied to the stocks. So, bottom line here, the point is most of these people aren't like, let's go on strike and we'll do it from our yacht and we'll enjoy our
No.
time off. These people need to work, and it's a last ditch effort to kind of get these billionaire executives to come to the table to talk reasonably about the vision going forward. Um, so
Yeah, and they're not getting unemployment insurance either. Some people are saying, these people just need to get back to work. And the problem is with certain things, um, there isn't work to be had because they are coming from a union position, because they are trying to negotiate things. The executives can ask to get what are, let's say, old word. I hate saying the word scabs, but they will look for what have been called scabs for years to get certain things done. And those people are shunned for a reason. Um, and they are just as dispensable or seemingly as dispensable to everybody else. So um, the the actors don't want to strike, the supporting staff don't want to strike, the writers don't want to strike. Everybody wants to work, and they want to work for what is already peanuts and has been peanuts. It hasn't kept up with inflation. It hasn't kept up with, um, all the CEOs 300% more than their medium salary workers underneath them. I think it was, you were talking about buybacks and stuff. I think it was, I want to say this right. It wasn't Disney. I think it was Warner Brothers that it was $34 billion. So this goes on and on and on about what people can get away with versus what people are trying to do for the love.
and that's what they're exploiting. Uh oh, did I lose you?
Oh, oh no, there we are. Okay, sorry. What was that?
I was just making a weird face.
Yeah, but did I freeze as well? Sorry about that.
Did what?
Nothing. I'm not talking intelligently about this right now, and that's frustrating me. People
No,
want to
you
get back
are.
to
Well,
work, and people want to have a livable wage, but more than that, they want to be able to negotiate things as they come forward and say, hey, for the next 10 years or even the next 5 years, can we agree we are doing this and not doing these other things? We're not going to allow robots. We're not going to allow AI script writing, because a lot of these actors are also writing stuff, and a lot of the writers are trying to be involved with the process. Uh, it can make movies better. Um, there is no real difficulty making a sequel to intellectual property that you've seen a million times, whether it's Marvel or Fast and the Furious or Star Wars or whatever. It can be done in perpetuity. Mattel, I did not see that coming, for example. But Barbie.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
So there's going to be Mattel stuff because people are like, oh, look who's, nostalgic for the past. Imagine that. What brilliance. But the producers and the executives are not thinking from a ground point of view. They don't care. They know what works. They know what formulas work. And fans don't help by going to see an awful Star Wars movie like Solo or something, just because it is. What do you want, kids? What do you want? Because we're going to make this for 450 million, and we're only going to, at the box office, is only going to hit 400 million or 80 million. It doesn't matter with Solo. We know we're going to get people in, but this is just what we do, man. You win some, you lose some. Well, it's not the case to the actors and the writers, which is why they're fighting for their lives at this point. And Fran Drescher is a great president of the SAG-AFTRA. She's done numerous interviews, and any one of them is a good indication of what people are actually fighting for. She's not spinning hyperbole. She is speaking from the heart because she's been doing it for 35 years or 40 years, I think.
And if you read any of her stuff, you can tell she's very well educated. She's the woman for the job. She knows it because she lived it. And those are usually the best people. That's the irony of the Bob Igers and all these execs saying like their demands are unreasonable.
Mhm.
Well, I think the majority of people, I'd like to think the majority of people would think an executive not worrying about the heat, groceries, whatever, saying that to people who are just trying to survive would be unreasonable, you know? And if you want to, what?
I was just saying, yeah, of course. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's the same thing in politics that I've talked about for a long time. Somebody says, uh, a politician, we're talking about homeless people, we're talking about people losing their jobs, talking about raising the minimum wage. And a politician says, well, I don't know why they just don't sell one of their houses, or, just go to your summer home if it's too hot in LA. Like, I mean, genuinely saying this stuff with an indignant voice in him of like, I don't, there are options. I mean, just, cash out one of your CDs at the bank. There are stocks that you can sell for very minimal yield loss. I don't think these people understand. It's ridiculous.
My
It's
brother's,
ridiculous.
my brother's wife, girlfriend, uh, just sent me a photo of a bumper sticker or something. They're at Bike Week, I think in Daytona.
Hmm.
Um, and it was a patch or a sticker that said, if you get rich being a politician, you're a crook, or the only way to get rich as a politician is being a crook. And I thought that's so brilliant because that's all it is. Just like these executives, where do you think, and yes, some of the actors are getting a ton of that money, but they didn't make right. Like, let's just talk about the Marvel stuff, right? There are
Okay.
people who, coming from comic book days, who poured their heart and soul into that, and most of that money trickles up to the ridiculous amounts that these execs are getting. And by the way, if you do want to support a strike, maybe your family member is trying to make it in Hollywood or something like that, strike funds, look them up. I don't have them, but they're usually called strike funds. You can find them through, different resources, SAG-AFTRA website, all that. And that is the best way to support these people because that money directly goes to the striking actors, workers that are going to help pay their rent, food, whatever it is. If you're by a strike, because I always wondered this too. A couple of years ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, I spoke to the manager of the Memphis Starbucks store where it was the Memphis Seven that got fired. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they were fighting for their job back, but at the time there was a strike. And I
Hmm.
interviewed her on my podcast and I said, what can people do to support? And she said, like, if you go into the shop, put like Union Strong on your cup or, go out and stand with them in the strike. And I thought, well, that's not possible for me. Like I'm
Right.
so far away from Memphis. And I wish she had more information, like, maybe even though they're small, they could start a strike fund. That way they're directly getting immediate help for whatever necessities, that they need provided for them at that time. Um,
Hmm.
and that's just vital information for anybody who, is going to be in solidarity. Maybe you're on the East Coast like me and you can't help the people in Hollywood that are working, that are grinding it out. Not the George Clooney's. Um,
Right.
Look up a strike fund because it's their lifeline right now. I know
Yeah.
that being
You
in
don't
that.
need to be in the picket lines with them. Yes, that is the best way to do it. I mean, writing anybody isn't going to do anything. There's no one you can call. I mean, eh, I don't think it would do anything. I'm again not educated enough on it to say for sure, but yes, funding them in those ways is my belief is the best way that you can support them if you can't be there with them. Bodies do matter, but money is really helping these people right
That's
now.
Have you watched Adam Conover? Conover? He's one
Mm,
of the strike leaders. He's an actor, comedian. He did a few different shows on TV, but now he's running like a full-time YouTube channel. I believe it's just Adam Conover, Conover. If you saw him, you'd definitely recognize him. Kind of blonde,
sure.
Zach Morris hair, glasses. I think
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. I
you
mean,
know
you're
who I'm talking
talking.
about.
Yes, I do. Okay, go ahead.
If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, it's brilliant because he is basically, once the strike kicked off, he is really taken to breaking down um, the pay aspect of it, the
Hmm.
wages for workers, where the money goes, who's really earning it, how grossly inequitable this whole system has kind of been. And he's super intelligent and also super funny.
Hmm.
So that's another. I know last night we were talking about YouTube channels, but he's one that I just hit the bell for because the content he's pushing out, plus he's on the picket lines. This is
Yeah.
why last night when I was telling you, like, YouTube might not be the greatest in sliced bread, but it's pretty damn good
Yeah.
in
No. It,
in certain in certain aspects. I get the community. Listen, I have a lot of gripes with YouTube, but this is one of the reasons why I love Twitter and YouTube, because media is not going to cover this like somebody who's striking and live streaming is going to be able to cover it. Same with on Twitter. You're not going to
mhm,
get the photos, the immediate. I loved following a lot of people who I didn't know from SAG-AFTRA, but through
mhm,
Twitter kind of rose to the top. Their tweets would kind of, get cycled to the front of the algorithm. And I
mhm.
started following these people because they were real time keeping you up to date with what was going on, who was going down there. There were Starbucks union workers hanging out with Jack Black on the picket lines. And it was just fascinating to get that like look where if you turn it into the 6 o'clock news, they ain't telling you any of that. You know what I mean? The corporations that own a lot of this content ain't gonna fill you in on the ground floor.
I personally hope Twitter goes away. I think it's had a good run. I think that Elon has
Killed it.
just, I mean, purposely so. It's becoming clearer and clearer he did it purposely. But
Well, because
um,
of stuff like this. Let's be honest.
yeah,
Twitter
no,
is
nobody
such.
hates unions more than Elon Musk. Nobody. I can't think of anybody who. I mean, maybe except these executives, but um,
Bezos, Howard Schultz, but Elon's up
there you
there.
go. Yeah, you get the idea. Um, no, I do. It is. I hope Instagram gets a little bit bigger, does whatever it has to do. I
I'm not
mean,
on Instagram. Are you on Instagram?
I am. I am.
Plug it. What is your Instagram?
It's just ample thought. I mean, I think it's even my like personal Instagram. It's nothing.
Oh,
Um, I literally think I have 4 pictures on there since like
the,
2017 or 2015 or something.
oh, and
I mean,
you're
I
on.
have like spaghetti on there. I have a theater on there. Whatever, doesn't matter. I don't.
Why do you want it to get bigger then? Do you go on it, or are you just like hoping?
No, I mean, it seems so much more positive. Like, Instagram feels like, look at this museum. And then Twitter is like, look at where the sausage is made. And you're on
No,
like, in the
you know what?
trough with the pigs. And they're like, about to, get a wire around their neck or something. It's awful. It's not
Instagram
good.
Instagram is look at the museum, and Twitter is look at the writing on the bathroom wall in the museum.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm gonna have to wrap this up, but do you want to do some quick YouTube channels?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you have some? Because Adam Conover was one of mine. Real quick, I just want to list another one because I was going back. Jack Stauber,
Oh God, I love Jack Stauber.
real
Absolutely.
he. You know what he reminds me of? A
So,
young Kurt Cobain, because his music is
yes,
out there.
I
He's
would
an
say even more
artist.
more prolific than. than Cobain. I wrote an article years ago about stop calling Kurt a genius. Like, not even he would appreciate it.
Well, that's true. But
And it
Kurt
was
was a
about,
genius.
I mean,
Oh, we'll debate this another night. Kurt is one of my heroes. I have a picture of him right
I
now.
mean, I love him too. I think the term genius, hero, a lot of these things are overused. And if you overuse it, it doesn't have any meaning. It's like saying you hate everything. Like, if you hate everything, then you love nothing. Or if you love everything, then it detracts from the girth of what it should be. The value of it is qualitative, not quantitative.
Yeah.
So yes,
Stauber is one of those cats where you kind of go, wow, this guy's onto something.
my favorite song that he has is called Misled. I just want everyone to know that. Check out Misled by Jack Stauber. It's
We're
my
going to watch it later.
favorite song by him. So anyway, I'm going to go through these
Rattle
quick.
them off.
I saw another Hot Ones today on First We Feast. It's really good. It was with my
Depend-
boy
Who was it?
Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes. I keep saying Pete Holmes. It was Pete Holmes today.
You love Pete Holmes.
I do.
The guest makes that. The guest makes that. Let's be honest. I won't
Lit-
watch that unless it's a good guest.
I don't think I mean, Vanessa Hudgens was on there. I don't know who she is, so I didn't really watch it. But they have a lot of people I don't know on there. But like get Chef Gordon Ramsay was on there. That was awesome. Anyway, moving along, going through some quick ones. Vsauce, love science stuff, love all that math stuff. Up and Adam is an Australian girl who does a lot of theorems, a lot of math theorems. Last week tonight with John Oliver, we didn't talk about it. The guy can't do anything wrong, in my opinion.
He can't. Even
another-
being Zazu, he didn't get it wrong.
Another one we touched on yesterday was Cinema Sins, but Pitch Meeting with Ryan George, this crazy Canadian. He's good, and he does it all by himself. And I have more we'll talk about another time, but I'm not Norm. Everybody should know it if they're a Norm Macdonald fan. I'm Not Norm is a YouTube channel just dedicated to Norm, and I love watching it. And they try and bring up new clips all the time, but yeah, I'm not Norm. Anyway, that's my list.
Hey, did you ever watch before we go? Did you ever watch what is it, Hiking with Kevin Nealon, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, going on a hike with Kevin Nealon. Yes, I watched it quite often. Yeah.
That's why I love YouTube, because it's so random, but it's also like the stuff I didn't know I needed,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, totally watch people hiking and talking about random stuff and getting stopped by other hikers.
I still do use it for things I want to do. Like, I mean, I've played guitar for 25 years. I still check out guitar stuff. But like, I got really into ramen in the past year. So there's a guy called That Dude Can Cook is a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And he is really good. I like checking out some of his recipes, his grandma's or mom's recipes or his grandma's recipes. I can't remember, but just really authentic food and sometimes not authentic food. I love doing copycat stuff from Cheesecake Factory or whatever. So
yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I have a bunch more YouTube channels, so when we connect, we're gonna do another live. What, Thursday, Friday? Yeah. One, both. Who knows? Yeah.
We'll do one.
So we'll wrap this up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also subscribe to another one. As soon as I get enough subscribers, I think I need 500.
Right. It's Anotha. You created it, but I'm going to help everybody. Anotha and On3. Wait,
there we
3?
go.
How are you guys saying it?
3.
You're saying it like that. There you go. Okay. Anyway, yes, and then Ample Thought.
And Ample Thought. Make sure you go subscribe to another one, because I'm only about 495 people away from being able to do this on that channel. So we're close. Yeah. We're close, folks.
So close. In the scheme of things.
Thanks, Brendan. I'll see you soon.
Later.